Be honest with me for a second. What time is your alarm set for tomorrow? 6 a.m.? 5:30? And what are you going to do when it goes off? You're going to hit snooze. Maybe twice. You're going to drag yourself out of bed, chug some coffee just to feel human, and spend the next hour stuck in traffic or crammed on a train, just so you can sit in a box for 8 hours and make someone else rich. And for what? A paycheck that's gone before the next one hits? A life that happens between Friday night and Sunday afternoon? I'm not asking this to be depressing. I'm asking because this is the trap. This is the reality for 90% of people. They're not living their life, they're just paying for it. They're trading their hours, their energy, their sanity for money that disappears. But here's the thing you're not being told. You don't have to live like this. This isn't a get-rich-quick pitch. This is about a different game. A game the wealthy have been playing for centuries. It's about building something that pays you while you sleep, while you're on vacation, while you're spending time with the people you actually love. In the next couple of hours, I'm going to read you a book that breaks down exactly how to stop trading your time and start building forever assets. We're talking real estate that pays you rent, digital businesses that run on autopilot, and investments that stack up while you do absolutely nothing. Because the real flex isn't a fancy car or a big house. The real flex is waking up on a Tuesday, looking at your alarm clock, and turning it off because you don't need it anymore. If you are dead serious about breaking the chain and getting off that hamster wheel for good, then you need to hear this. You ready? Let's get into Chapter 1. The rat race is a trap. Why trading time for money will never make you rich. Let me hit you with some real talk. How many hours did you trade for your last paycheck? 40? 50? 60? Be honest. How much of your life did you hand over for that direct deposit? And now you're about to do it again. Tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. Same grind, same commute, same boss, same clock watching, same Friday night exhaustion, same Sunday night dread. That's the trap. That's the rat race. And let me keep it a buck with you. Most people never get out. You can't trade time forever. Build something that works while you sleep. Say that again. You can't trade time forever. Build something that works while you sleep. Here's the math they don't teach you in school. There are 24 hours in a day. You need to sleep, eat, shower, maybe see your family. Best case, you got 8 to 10 working hours. That's it. That's your max. There's a hard ceiling on how much time you can trade. And here's the killer. When you stop trading, you stop getting paid. Take a week off? No paycheck. Get sick? No paycheck. Lose your job? No paycheck. You're trading your one and only life for money that stops the second you do. That's not a plan. That's a trap. You have a choice. Keep running on the hamster wheel, getting nowhere fast. Or get off and build something real. That's the key. Let me break down the middle class trap for you. And I ain't saying this to hate. I'm saying this because I need you to see it. You get a job. Good job. Decent pay. You work hard. You get a raise. Nice. Now you can afford a nicer apartment. A newer car. Maybe some vacations. Life's good. But now your expenses match your income. So you need that job. You need that paycheck. You need that next raise. So you work harder. You get promoted. More money. More responsibility. More stress. Now you need a nicer car to look the part. A bigger house, because that's what people at your level do. Your expenses go up again. You're making more money than ever, but you're also more trapped than ever. You can't quit. You can't slow down. You can't take a risk. Because your lifestyle depends on that paycheck. That's not wealth. That's golden handcuffs. You're running faster and faster, but you're not going anywhere. The treadmill just got steeper. The wealthy think different. While you're asking, how can I get a raise? They're asking, how can I get paid without showing up? While you're trading time, they're building systems. While you're working for money, they're making money work for them. While you're clocking in, they're collecting. That's the whole game right there. It's not about working harder. It's about building things that work so you don't have to. Let me give you a real-world example. Two guys, same age, same starting point. Guy gets a good job, makes $80,000. Works hard, gets promoted, now makes $120,000. Buys a nicer house, a nicer car, works harder to keep up, gets promoted again, now makes $180,000. But now he's got a bigger mortgage, 2 car payments, kids in private school. He's making more money than ever, and he's more stressed than ever. Can't quit, can't slow down, can't take a risk. He's trapped. Guy B also gets a good job, makes $80,000. But instead of spending more when he gets raises, he saves. He invests. He buys a small rental property on the side, then another, then a small digital business. He builds assets while working his job. 5 years later, Guy A is still on the treadmill, making good money, but needing every dollar. One layoff away from disaster. Guy B's assets are now paying him $5,000 a month, then $8,000, then $12,000. At some point, the assets pay more than his job. He walks away. He's free. Same starting point. Completely different outcome. The difference? Guy B understood something Guy A never figured out. You can't trade time forever. Build something that works while you sleep. Look, I'm not saying don't work. I'm not saying quit your job tomorrow. That's stupid. You need income to build assets. But you need to understand that your job is not your future. Your job is your launchpad. It's the fuel, not the destination. The goal is to use your job money to buy assets, and use your asset income to buy more assets, until the assets are doing the heavy lifting and you're just collecting. That's the game. That's the whole game. Let's get real specific about the trap you're probably in right now. Think about your monthly expenses: rent or mortgage, car payment, credit cards, subscriptions, eating out. All that stuff adds up, and all of it depends on you showing up to work. If you stop working today, how long could you survive? A month? 3 months? 6? If the answer is less than a year, you're in the trap. Your lifestyle depends on your labor. That's risky. That's stressful. That's not freedom. The wealthy don't have that problem. Their lifestyle depends on their assets. The assets don't call in sick. They don't get laid off. They don't have bad days. They just produce. Every month. On time. Without fail. That's the goal. That's what we're building toward. You can't trade time forever. Build something that works while you sleep. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds great, but I don't have money to invest. I don't have savings. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I hear you. And I'm not going to front like that's easy. But let me tell you something straight up. Every wealthy person started somewhere. Nobody woke up rich. They started with nothing and made choices that got them out. The choice starts now. Not when you have more money. Not when things get easier. Now. You can keep doing what you're doing and stay where you're at. Or you can start making different choices. Cut expenses. Increase income. Save the difference. Buy your first small asset. Start the ladder. You don't need $1 million to start. You need $1,000. You need 500. You need 100. You need to start. You are strong. You are intelligent. You are the master of your own world. You don't need anyone's permission to start building. Here's your action plan for this chapter. Simple. Doable. Real. Step 1. Calculate your trap number. How many hours do you work each week? Multiply by 50 weeks. That's how many hours you trade for money each year. Now divide your annual income by that number. That's your hourly rate. That's what you're trading your life for. Write it down. Look at it. Let it sink in. Step 2. Calculate your freedom number. How much money would you need each month to cover your basic expenses? Not your fancy lifestyle. Your basics. Rent, food, utilities, transportation. That's your freedom number. That's the target. When your assets pay that, you're free. Step 3. Start the shift. This week, make one change that moves you from consumer to builder. Cancel one subscription you don't need. Cook one extra meal at home instead of eating out. Pick up one extra hour of overtime or side gig work. Save that money. Don't spend it. That's your first seed. Step 4. Ask the rich person question. Every time you get paid, ask yourself, how can I make this money work for me instead of spending it on stuff? Let that question guide your choices. You can't trade time forever. Build something that works while you sleep. This is the foundation. Everything else in this book builds on this one truth. The rat race is a trap. The treadmill goes nowhere. Trading time for money will never make you free. But building assets? That's the way out. That's the ladder. That's freedom. Now, with this truth locked in, we got to get clear on what we're even talking about. Because most people think they have assets when they really don't. They think their house is an asset. Their car is an asset. Their stuff is an asset. We need to get that straight before we go any further. Moving to Chapter 2. What even is an asset? The rich person's definition. And look, if this real talk is hitting you where you live, do yourself a favor and hit subscribe. Every week, more straight-up wisdom for the person who's done running on the hamster wheel. You're not just listening to an audiobook. You're building a new future. Subscribe now. Let's get this money. For real. It's time for the Chapter 2. What even is an asset? The rich person's definition. Let me hit you with a question that's going to mess with your head. What do you own right now that you think is an asset? Your house? Your car? Your watch? Your sneaker collection? Your crypto bag? Your retirement account? I'm going to stop you right there. Because most people have no idea what an asset actually is. And that confusion is keeping them broke. An asset pays you. A liability costs you. Don't confuse the two. Say that again. An asset pays you. A liability costs you. Don't confuse the two. This is the simplest, most powerful definition of wealth you'll ever hear. And once it clicks, you'll never look at your stuff the same way again. Let's break it down. Most people think an asset is just something you own, something of value, something you could sell if you had to. Your house is worth money, so it's an asset. Your car is worth money, so it's an asset. Your watch cost 5 grand, so it's an asset. That's not how rich people think. Not even close. Rich people look at cash flow. They ask one question: does this thing put money in my pocket every month, or does it take money out? If it puts money in your pocket every month, reliably, without you working for it, that's an asset. If it takes money out of your pocket every month, without fail, just for owning it, that's a liability. Period. End of story. No exceptions. Let's apply this to your life right now. Your house. You probably think it's your biggest asset. But let's be real. Does your house put money in your pocket every month? No. It takes money out. Mortgage payment, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, utilities, repairs. Every single month, money leaves your pocket because you own that house. That's not an asset. That's a liability. At least until you sell it. And even then, after paying realtors and taxes and paying off the mortgage, how much is really left? Now, a rental property that cash flows? Different story. That property puts money in your pocket every month after expenses. That's an asset. That's the difference. Your car. Does your car put money in your pocket? No. It takes money out. Payment, insurance, gas, maintenance, repairs, depreciation. Every month, money leaves. Liability. Now, a truck you use for a business that hauls materials and generates income? That truck is a tool. It helps you make money. But the car you drive to the mall? Liability. Your watch. That Rolex you've been eyeing? Let's be real. It's not paying you. It's costing you. And it'll cost you every year to insure it, maintain it, and maybe even store it safely. That's not an asset. That's an expensive liability with a flex factor. Your crypto. Look, I'm not here to hate on crypto. But unless it's paying you dividends or staking rewards that actually hit your pocket, it's not an asset yet. It's a speculation. It might become an asset if you sell it for more than you paid. But while you're holding, it's not paying you. It's just sitting there, hoping. You have a choice. Keep calling your stuff assets and wondering why you're not getting richer. Or get real about what's actually paying you. That's the key. Let me give you the rich person's asset list. These are the things that actually put money in your pocket. Rental properties that cash flow. You buy a property. You rent it out. After all expenses, mortgage, taxes, insurance, maintenance, there's money left over. That money hits your bank account every month. You didn't work for it. The property worked. That's an asset. Businesses that run without you. You build a business with systems and people so it operates without your daily input. The business makes money, and you collect. That's an asset. Stocks that pay dividends. You buy shares of companies that distribute profits to shareholders. Every quarter, money shows up in your account. You didn't do anything. The company worked. That's an asset. Bonds that pay interest. You lend money to governments or corporations. They pay you interest. Money shows up. That's an asset. Intellectual property that earns royalties. You write a book, create a course, invent something, license it. Every time someone buys or uses it, you get paid. That's an asset. Digital products you sell on autopilot. You create an ebook, a template, a course, a membership site. It sits on the internet. People buy it while you sleep. Money shows up. That's an asset. Notice the pattern? Every single one of these puts money in your pocket without you trading time for it. That's the whole game. An asset pays you. A liability costs you. Don't confuse the two. Let me give you a real-world example so you can feel the difference. Meet Sarah. Sarah owns a house she lives in. She also owns a rental property. Let's look at her numbers. Her personal house. Mortgage $1,800. Taxes $400. Insurance $100. Maintenance averages $200 a month. Total monthly cost $2,500. That money leaves her account every month. No money comes in. That's a liability. She calls it her home, and that's fine. But let's be real about what it is financially. Her rental property, rent collected $2,200. Mortgage $1,200. Taxes $250. Insurance $50. Maintenance $100. Total monthly expenses $1,600. Monthly cash flow $600. That $600 shows up in her account every month. She didn't work for it. The property worked. That's an asset. Same person. Two properties. One takes money out. One puts money in. One liability. One asset. Now you see it. Here's another one. Meet James. James has a job and a side hustle. His job, he works 40 hours a week. They pay him. When he stops working, they stop paying. That's not an asset. That's a job. It's trading time for money. His side hustle, he built a website with digital guides about his hobby. He spent 50 hours building it. Now it sits there. People buy the guides while he sleeps, while he's at work, while he's on vacation. Money shows up. That's an asset. Same person. One trades time for money. One trades work once for money forever. One job. One asset. You see the difference now? An asset pays you. A liability costs you. Don't confuse the two. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. But my house is going up in value. That's an asset, right? Let's talk about appreciation. Yeah, your house might be worth more than you paid. That's great. But until you sell it, that's not money in your pocket. That's paper wealth. And while you're waiting for it to appreciate, it's still taking money out of your pocket every month. Would you rather have a property that pays you $500 a month and goes up in value? Or a property that costs you $500 a month and might go up in value? The math ain't complicated. Rich people focus on cash flow first. Appreciation is gravy. But cash flow is the meal. Here's another one. But my 401k is an asset, right? Yes. But let's be clear. A 401k is just a container. What's inside matters. If your 401k holds dividend-paying stocks and bonds that generate income, those are assets. If it holds speculative stuff that doesn't pay you, it's just a hope machine. Get clear on what you actually own. An asset pays you. A liability costs you. Don't confuse the two. This distinction is everything. It changes how you see money. It changes how you spend. It changes how you build. When you understand this, you stop buying stuff that costs you and start buying stuff that pays you. You stop flexing for people you don't even like and start stacking assets that work while you sleep. You have a choice. Keep bleeding money on liabilities and wondering why you're broke. Or start acquiring assets and let them do the heavy lifting. That's the key. Let me give you your action plan for this chapter. Simple, doable, real. Step 1, the asset audit. Get a piece of paper. Write down everything you own that you think is an asset. Now, next to each one, write down how much money it puts in your pocket every month. If it doesn't put money in your pocket, it's not an asset. Be honest. No excuses. Step 2, the liability reality check. Now write down everything you own that costs you money every month. Your house, your car, your subscriptions, your stuff. Add up the total monthly cost. That's how much your liabilities are bleeding you every month. Let that number sink in. Step 3, the shift question. For the next 30 days, before you buy anything, ask yourself, is this going to put money in my pocket or take money out? Let that question guide every purchase. You'll be amazed how much crap you stop buying. Step 4, the asset hunt. Start looking for things that actually put money in your pocket. Dividend stocks, small rental properties, digital products you can create, businesses you can build on the side. Start small. Start now. An asset pays you. A liability costs you. Don't confuse the two. This is the lens. This is how the wealthy see the world. Not how much is it worth, but how much does it pay? Not what will it be worth someday, but what does it do for me now? You are strong. You are intelligent. You are the master of your own world. You don't need anyone's permission to start thinking like this. Now, with this definition locked in, we got to talk about the mindset that separates the builders from the broke. Because knowing what an asset is don't mean nothing if you're still thinking like a consumer. We need to shift how you think. Moving to chapter 3, the mindset shift, thinking like a builder, not a consumer. And look, if this real talk is opening your eyes to what's really going on with your money, do yourself a solid and hit subscribe. Every week, more straight-up wisdom for the person who's done bleeding money on liabilities and ready to start stacking assets. You're not just learning, you're building. Subscribe now. Let's get this money. For real. Coming over to the chapter 3, that is the mindset shift. Thinking like a builder, not a consumer. Let me ask you something real quick. What's the first thing that pops into your head when you wake up in the morning? For most people, it's some version of what am I going to do today? Or ugh, I got to go to work. But underneath that, there's a deeper programming running in the background. A default setting that's been installed since birth. It's the consumer mindset. And it's keeping you broke. Consumers stay broke. Builders get rich. Choose which one you are. Say that again. Consumers stay broke. Builders get rich. Choose which one you are. Here's the deal. Most people wake up every single day thinking like consumers. Their brain is wired to ask one question over and over. What can I buy? What can I spend? What can I consume? They scroll Instagram and see stuff they want. They walk through the mall and see stuff they need. They watch TV and see stuff they're missing. Their whole existence is oriented around acquiring things. Things that, by the way, will be worthless in 5 years. That mindset is a trap. It's a one-way street to broke. Because no matter how much money you make, if you're always thinking about what to buy, you'll always find a way to spend it. You have a choice. Stay a consumer, keep spending, stay broke. Or become a builder, start creating, get rich. That's the key. Let me paint you a picture of these two different mindsets. The consumer wakes up and thinks about what's missing. Their coffee isn't good enough, so they need a better espresso machine. Their phone is last year's model, so they need the new one. Their outfit is old, so they need to shop. They're constantly filling holes that don't actually exist. The consumer gets paid and immediately thinks about what to buy. Rent's due, bills to pay, but after that, what's left? New shoes, dinner out, a vacation? The money flows in and right back out. It never sticks around long enough to work. The consumer sees someone with a nice car and feels jealous. They see someone on vacation and feel inadequate. They see someone with a bigger house and feel small. Their whole emotional life is tied up in comparison and consumption. The consumer works their whole life, spends their whole life, and ends up with nothing to show for it but stuff. Stuff that's worth pennies on the dollar. Stuff that doesn't pay them a dime. Stuff that actually cost them a fortune. The builder wakes up thinking different. They ask, what can I create today? What can I build? What can I acquire that will outlast me? The builder doesn't care about the latest iPhone. They care about the next income stream. They don't care about impressing strangers. They care about stacking assets. They don't care about looking rich. They care about being free. The builder gets paid and immediately thinks about what to invest. How much can I put into that rental property? How many shares of that dividend stock can I buy? How much can I funnel into my business? The money flows in and gets put to work. The builder sees someone with a nice car and wonders what they did to afford it. Or more likely, how much debt they're in to look good. They see someone on vacation and think about building a business that lets them travel whenever they want. They see someone with a big house and think about cash flow, not square footage. The builder works their whole life building systems, assets, and income streams. And at the end, they don't have stuff. They have freedom. They have options. They have money that works so they don't have to. Consumers stay broke. Builders get rich. Choose which one you are. Let me give you a real-world example so you can see this in action. 2 guys, same age, same job, same salary. Let's call them Consumer Carl and Builder Brian. Consumer Carl gets paid $5,000 a month. First thing he does is pay his bills. Then he looks at what's left. New sneakers? $200. Dinner with friends? $150. That new gaming console? $500. Maybe a little vacation next month? Put it on the credit card, worry about it later. Carl's apartment is full of stuff. Latest gadgets. Nice clothes. Good sneakers. His Instagram looks great. His bank account? Not so much. He's got maybe $500 in savings. If he lost his job, he'd be panicked in 2 weeks. Carl thinks he's doing okay. He's got nice things. He's living the life. But he's one paycheck away from disaster. And every year, he starts over. Same salary. Same spending. Same nothing to show. Builder Brian gets paid the same $5,000. He pays his bills too, but his bills are lower because he drives an old paid-off car and lives in a modest apartment. He's got $1,500 left after expenses. Brian doesn't go shopping. He goes investing. He puts $500 into dividend stocks, $500 into savings for a rental property down payment, $500 into his side hustle business. Brian's apartment is basic. His car is old. His Instagram is boring, but his brokerage account is growing. His savings is growing. His business is growing. 5 years later, consumer Carl is in the same place. Same job, same salary, same apartment full of stuff, same near zero savings, same stress. Builder Brian has $50,000 in investments. He owns a small rental property that cash flows $300 a month. His side hustle is making $1,000 a month on autopilot. He's not rich yet, but he's on his way. And he's sleeping better than Carl. Same starting point, same income, different mindset, different outcome. Consumers stay broke. Builders get rich. Choose which one you are. Now, let's get real about why this mindset shift is so hard. We are bombarded with consumer messaging 24/7. Ads, influencers, friends, family, society. Everyone telling you that happiness is one purchase away, that you deserve it, that you owe it to yourself, that life is short by the thing. It's a lie, but it's a compelling lie, and it's everywhere. To break out of consumer mindset, you gotta go against the grain. You gotta be okay with looking different. You gotta be okay with not having the latest stuff. You gotta be okay with people not understanding why you drive an old car when you could afford a new one. That's hard. But you know what's harder? Being 60 years old with nothing to show for a lifetime of work. Being trapped in a job you hate because you need the paycheck. Being stressed about money every single day. That's the real cost of consumer mindset. And it's way higher than any monthly payment. It's not about deprivation. It's about direction. You're not giving up things. You're redirecting your resources towards something bigger. You're not saying no to stuff. You're saying yes to freedom. You're not missing out. You're opting into a different life. Every dollar you don't spend on consumer crap is a dollar you can invest in an asset. And that asset will pay you forever. That's the trade. That's the shift. You are strong. You are intelligent. You can make this shift. Let's get practical. How do you actually start thinking like a builder? Step 1. The 24-hour rule. Before any non-essential purchase, wait 24 hours. Just one day. You'll be amazed how many things you thought you needed suddenly seem stupid. The impulse passes. The consumer urge fades. And you keep your money. Step 2. The question switch. Every time you're about to spend money, switch the question. Instead of, can I afford this? Ask, what could this money become if I invested it? Instead of, do I want this? Ask, do I need this? Or do I just want the hit? Step 3. The environment cleanse. Unfollow accounts that make you want to buy stuff. Mute influencers who are just selling. Get out of the stores, physical and digital, where the consumer trap is strongest. You can't think like a builder if you're swimming in consumer messaging. Step 4. The builder's journal. Every evening, write down one thing you built or invested in that day. It could be small, $20 in a stock, an hour working on a side hustle, a skill you learned, a connection you made. Track your building, not your buying. Step 5. The identity declaration. Say this out loud right now. I am a builder. I create more than I consume. I invest more than I spend. Say it until you believe it. Because identity drives behavior. When you see yourself as a builder, building becomes natural. Consumers stay broke. Builders get rich. Choose which one you are. This is the shift. It doesn't happen overnight. You'll slip. You'll buy crap you don't need. You'll fall back into consumer mode. That's okay. Just catch yourself and get back to building. Every day is a new choice. Every dollar is a new vote. Spend it like a consumer, it's gone forever. Invest it like a builder, it works forever. You are the master of your own world. You don't need anyone's permission to start building. Now, with this mindset locked in, we got to talk about the biggest excuse people use to stay stuck. I don't have money to invest. I don't have capital. I can't build assets because I'm broke. That's bull. And we're going to kill it right now. Moving to Chapter 4. How to build assets when you have no money. The Bootstrap Blueprint. And look, if this mindset shift is hitting you where you live, do yourself a favor and hit subscribe. Every week, more real talk for the person who's done consuming and ready to build. You're not just listening to an audiobook. You're becoming a builder. Subscribe now. Let's get this money. For real. In Chapter 4, we will discuss how to build assets when you have no money. The Bootstrap Blueprint. Let me stop you right there. I know what you're thinking. I can hear it through the speakers. This all sounds good, but I don't have money to invest. I don't have savings. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. How am I supposed to buy real estate or start a business when I'm broke? Let's keep it a buck. That's an excuse. And I'm not saying that to be harsh. I'm saying it because excuses keep you stuck, and I need you to get unstuck. No money? No problem. You got time, you got energy, you got a brain. Use them. Say that again. No money? No problem. You got time, you got energy, you got a brain. Use them. Here's the truth they don't tell you. Almost no one started with money. The wealthy people you see, they didn't wake up rich. They started with nothing, or next to nothing. But they had something more valuable than cash. They had sweat equity. They had hustle. They had the willingness to work before they got paid. You have a choice. Keep using "I don't have money" as an excuse to do nothing. Or get real about what you do have and start building. That's the key. Let's break down what you actually have right now. Even if your bank account is looking sad, you have time. Everyone gets the same 24 hours. What you do with them is up to you. You can spend them watching Netflix, scrolling TikTok, and complaining about being broke. Or you can spend them building. Your choice. You have energy. You have physical and mental energy you can put to work. You can grind. You can hustle. You can learn. You can create. That energy is capital. Use it. You have a brain. You can learn anything for free on the internet. YouTube, podcasts, free courses, library books. You don't need money to get knowledge. You need curiosity and discipline. You have sweat equity. That's the fancy term for working before you get paid. For building value with your hands and mind before you see a dime. That's how empires start. Not with capital, with labor. The wealthy didn't start with money. They started with sweat equity. They started with time. They started with learning. They put in the work first, and the money followed. Let me give you some real-world examples so you can see how this works. Example 1, the service business. You got $0, but you got 2 hands and a willingness to work. You start a lawn mowing business. You don't need money. You borrow your neighbor's mower. You offer to wash cars. You walk dogs. You clean houses. You trade sweat for cash. That cash becomes your first capital. You save it. You reinvest it. You buy your own equipment. You hire someone to help. You build something that didn't exist before. All starting with $0 and a lot of hustle. Example 2, the digital product. You got $0, but you got a brain and an internet connection. You learn a skill, graphic design, writing, video editing, coding. Free tutorials everywhere. You practice until you're decent. You create something valuable, a template, an ebook, a course, a preset pack. You put it on a platform like Gumroad or Etsy. It sits there. People buy it while you sleep. You built an asset with nothing but time and brain power. Example 3, the skill stack. You got $0, but you got time. You spend 6 months learning high-income skills. Copywriting, sales, web development, digital marketing. You get good. You start freelancing. You charge $50, then $100, then $500. You take that income and reinvest it. Into stocks, into a business, into real estate. You used your brain to create capital, then used that capital to buy assets. That's the Bootstrap blueprint. Example 4, the partnership. You got $0, but you got ideas and hustle. You find someone with money who needs what you got. A real estate investor looking for a property manager. A business owner needing a partner to run operations. A developer needing someone to handle sales. You bring sweat equity. They bring capital. Together, you build something. You earn a piece of the asset without putting up a dime. No money? No problem. You got time. You got energy. You got a brain. Use them. Let me tell you a story that'll light a fire under you. A guy named Chris worked at a warehouse, made $15 an hour, lived paycheck to paycheck. No savings, no investments, no hope. He heard this same message somewhere. You don't need money to start. You need hustle. Chris looked at what he had. He had evenings. He had weekends. He had a phone. He had a brain. He started watching YouTube videos about digital marketing. Free. Learned for 3 months while working his warehouse job. Every night, 2 hours. Every weekend, 5 hours. Then he started offering social media help to local businesses. Free at first, just to build a portfolio. Then $100 a month. Then $500. Then $1,000. He kept his warehouse job while building. Saved every dollar from his side hustle. 6 months later, he had $6,000 saved. Used it to buy a website business that was already making money. Then another. Then another. 3 years later, Chris quit the warehouse. His assets were paying him $8,000 a month. He built that from $0. Just time, energy, and a brain. That's not a fairy tale. That's real life. That's the Bootstrap blueprint. It's not about having money. It's about using what you got. You got time. You got energy. You got a brain. You got the internet. You got access to more information than any human in history. The only thing missing is your willingness to use it. Let's get real specific about how you do this. Step 1. Audit your assets. Sit down and list what you actually have. Not money, other stuff. Time. How many hours a week can you dedicate? Energy. When are you most productive? Skills. What can you already do? Interests. What do you actually like? This is your starting capital. Step 2. Pick one path. Don't try to do everything. Pick one Bootstrap path. Service business. Digital product. Skill development. Partnership. Just one. Go deep. Get good. Ignore everything else. Step 3. Invest time before money. For the next 90 days, invest your time like it's money. 2 hours a night. 5 hours on weekends. That's 200 plus hours of building. Imagine what you could create with 200 focused hours. That's your seed capital. Step 4. Reinvest everything. When you make your first money, don't spend it. Don't buy new sneakers. Don't upgrade your phone. Reinvest it. Into better tools. Into learning. Into your next asset. Let your sweat equity turn into financial equity. Step 5. Stack and repeat. First asset. Then second. Then third. Each one you build with sweat becomes fuel for the next. You're not just building one thing. You're building a machine that builds more machines. No money? No problem. You got time. You got energy. You got a brain. Use them. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. This path ain't easy. It's gonna take years, not months. You're gonna be tired. You're gonna want to quit. You're gonna see your friends going out while you're grinding. That's the price. But let me ask you something. What's the alternative? Staying broke? Staying trapped? Working for someone else until you're 65 with nothing to show? That's way harder. You are strong. You are intelligent. You are the master of your own world. You don't need money to start building. You need hustle. You need discipline. You need to decide that your future is worth more than your present comfort. Let me give you your action plan for this chapter. Real talk. No fluff. Action 1. The 90-day hustle plan. Commit right now to 90 days of building. No excuses. No days off. 2 hours every weeknight. 5 hours each weekend. That's 200 hours. What could you build with 200 focused hours? A skill. A business. A product. An asset. Decide now. Action 2. The free education stack. This week, find 5 free resources to learn whatever path you chose. YouTube channels. Podcasts. Free courses. Library books. Consume them like your future depends on it, because it does. Action 3. The first dollar goal. Set a goal to make your first dollar from your new asset within 90 days. Not $1,000. $1. Prove to yourself you can do it. That first dollar is more important than the first million. Action 4. The reinvestment promise. Make a promise right now. The first money you make, you will not spend. You will reinvest it. Into your next asset. Into your education. Into your future. Say it out loud. Mean it. No money? No problem. You got time. You got energy. You got a brain. Use them. This is the Bootstrap blueprint. It's how every self-made person started. Not with a trust fund. Not with a lucky break. With sweat. With hustle. With the willingness to work before they got paid. You have everything you need. Right now. Today. The only question is whether you'll use it. Now, with this blueprint in your hands, we got to talk about the most powerful asset class for regular people. The one that's built millionaires for centuries. The one that pays you forever if you do it right. We're talking about real estate. Moving to Chapter 5. Real estate, the old reliable. And look, if this Bootstrap blueprint is lighting a fire under you, do yourself a favor and hit subscribe. Every week, more real talk for the person who's done using no money as an excuse and ready to start building. You're not just listening to an audiobook. You're building your future. Subscribe now. Let's get this money. For real. Chapter 5 reveals about the real estate, the old reliable. Let me tell you about the asset class that's been making regular people wealthy since before America was even a country. It's not crypto. It's not meme stocks. It's not some fancy new app. It's real estate. Bricks and sticks. Dirt and drywall. The stuff our grandparents knew about. Real estate has made more everyday people wealthy than any other asset class. For real. Not sexy. Not quick. Not something you post on Instagram. But it works. It's been working for centuries, and it'll keep working long after we're gone. Bricks and sticks don't lie. Real estate pays if you do it right. Say that again. Bricks and sticks don't lie. Real estate pays if you do it right. Here's the deal. Most people think real estate is about buying a house, hoping it goes up in value, and selling it for a profit someday. That's speculation, not investing. That's gambling on appreciation, not building wealth. The real game is cash flow. Money in your pocket every month. Month after month. Year after year. That's an asset paying you. That's freedom. You have a choice. Keep chasing quick flips and get-rich-quick schemes that almost never work. Or get into the slow, boring, reliable game of cash-flowing real estate. That's the key. Let's get one thing straight right now. Appreciation is not the goal. Appreciation is gravy. Cash flow is the meal. When you buy a property that cash flows, you don't care what the market does next week. You don't check Zillow every day. You don't stress about interest rates. Because every month, no matter what, money shows up in your account. That's peace. That's freedom. If the property also goes up in value over time, great. Bonus. But you're not counting on it. You're counting on the monthly checks. The goal is cash flow. Period. Now, let's talk about how regular people get into real estate when they don't have a pile of cash sitting around. Because I know what you're thinking. This sounds great, but I don't have 50 grand for a down payment. I hear you. And you're right. If you think you need a traditional down payment on a traditional house. But there are other ways. Let me break down the strategies that have worked for thousands of regular folks. Strategy 1. House hacking. This is the single best way to get started with nothing. You buy a duplex, triplex, or fourplex. You live in one unit. You rent out the others. The rent from your tenants pays your mortgage. Sometimes all of it. Sometimes most of it. You live for free or next to free while building equity in a property. Let's run the numbers. You buy a duplex for $300,000 with an FHA loan, 3.5% down. That's about $10,000. You live in one side, rent the other for $1,500. That rent covers most of your mortgage. Your housing cost drops to maybe $300 a month. Your tenants are building your wealth while you sleep. Do that for a year. Then do it again and again. 5 years later, you own multiple properties and your housing is basically free. That's house hacking. Strategy 2. The B in quadruple R method. B in quadruple R stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. This is how you recycle the same money over and over. You buy a fixer-upper with cash or hard money. You rehab it. You rent it out. Once it's rented and stabilized, you get a new mortgage based on the new value. You pull your original money back out. And you do it again. You end up owning a property with none of your own money in it. It's cash flowing. And you got your capital back to do the next deal. That's the BRRR method. Strategy 3. Creative financing. This is where you get really creative. Seller financing. The owner carries the loan instead of a bank. Lease options. You rent with the option to buy later. Partnerships. You bring the hustle. Someone else brings the cash. There are a million ways to buy real estate without traditional bank loans. You just gotta learn them and look for opportunities. Strategy 4. Start small. You don't need a multifamily building to start. You can buy a small rental property in a cheaper market. You can buy a mobile home. You can buy a single-family house and rent out rooms. You can buy a vacation rental. Start where you can. Don't wait for the perfect deal. Perfect deals don't exist. Good enough deals exist. Start there. Bricks and sticks don't lie. Real estate pays if you do it right. Let me tell you a story about a guy named Marcus. Marcus was a teacher, made $45,000 a year, lived in a small apartment, had maybe $5,000 in savings. He heard about house hacking and got curious. He found a duplex near his school for $250,000. FHA loan meant he needed about $8,000 down. He saved for a year, lived cheap, got the money together, scraped every penny. He moved into one side, rented the other for $1,200. His mortgage was $1,600. So his housing cost dropped from $1,000 a month to $400 a month. He saved even more. 2 years later, he did it again. Bought another duplex, moved into one side, rented the other. Now he had 2 properties, both cash flowing a little, both building equity. 5 years later, Marcus owned 4 properties. His tenants were paying his mortgages. His housing was free. He had equity of over $300,000. from a teacher's salary and a $5,000 start. That's not magic. That's real estate. That's the old reliable. It's not about being rich. It's about being consistent. You don't need to be a genius. You don't need to be lucky. You just need to be consistent. One deal at a time. One property at a time. 1 month at a time. Let's get real about the numbers so you can see how this adds up. One rental property that cash flows $200 a month doesn't seem like much. That's $2,400 a year. Not life-changing. But 5 properties that cash flow $200 each? That's $1,000 a month. That's real money. That's covering your car payment, your groceries, your utilities. 10 properties? That's $2,000 a month. That's covering your rent. That's freedom. And that's just cash flow. That's not counting equity paydown, tax benefits, and appreciation. The numbers stack up faster than you think. The key is to start. Buy one. Make it work. Then buy another. Stack them up. Bricks and sticks don't lie. Real estate pays if you do it right. Now, let's talk about what doing it right actually means. Doing it right means buying for cash flow, not for speculation, not for it might go up, not for it's in a hot market. Cash flow. Right now. Today. Doing it right means knowing your numbers. Not guessing. Not hoping. Actual math. Income. Expenses. Vacancy. Repairs. Property management. Know them cold before you buy. Doing it right means being a good landlord. Not a slumlord. Not absent. Not greedy. Take care of your properties. Take care of your tenants. Good tenants stay. Good tenants pay. Good tenants take care of your investment. Doing it right means thinking long-term. Real estate is not a get-rich-quick game. It's a get-rich-sure game. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. The people who win are the ones who stay in the game. You have a choice. Keep renting from someone else and building their wealth, or start owning and building yours. That's the key. Let me give you your action plan for this chapter. Real talk. No fluff. Action 1. The education phase. This week, learn one real estate strategy inside out. House hacking. BRRR. Creative financing. Pick one. Watch YouTube videos. Read blogs. Listen to podcasts. Know it better than anyone. Action 2. The numbers game. Start looking at properties in your area. Not to buy, just to practice the math. Find a duplex. Run the numbers. What would it rent for? What's the mortgage? What are expenses? Would it cash flow? Do this 10 times. Get comfortable with the math. Action 3. The credit check. Get your credit score. If it's below 620, make a plan to improve it. Pay down debt. Fix errors. Get right with your credit. Good credit is how you get good loans. Action 4. The savings goal. Set a savings goal for your first deal. Even if it's just $5,000 or $10,000. Start putting money away every month. Every dollar counts. Your first down payment is your ticket in. Action 5. The network build. Find local real estate investors. Go to meetups. Join Facebook groups. Ask questions. Most investors love talking about what they do. Learn from people who are already doing it. Bricks and sticks don't lie. Real estate pays if you do it right. This is the old reliable. It's not sexy. It's not quick. But it's real. It's tangible. You can touch it. You can see it. You can improve it. And over time, it will make you wealthy. You are strong. You are intelligent. You are the master of your own world. You don't need anyone's permission to start investing in real estate. You just need to learn the game and take the first step. Now, with real estate in your toolkit, we got to talk about the modern gold rush. The asset class you can build with zero capital, zero credit, and zero experience. The one that scales faster than anything in history. We're talking about digital assets. Moving to Chapter 6, Digital Assets. Build it once, sell it forever. And look, if this real estate talk is getting you hyped to start building, do yourself a favor and hit subscribe. Every week, more real talk for the person who's done renting and ready to own. You're not just listening to an audiobook. You're building a portfolio. Subscribe now. Let's get this money. For real. Chapter 6 is about digital assets, which discusses to build it once, sell it forever. Let me tell you about the biggest wealth-building opportunity of our lifetime. It's not crypto. It's not the stock market. It's not real estate, although we love real estate. It's digital assets. And most people are sleeping on it like it's not even there. This is the modern gold rush. And right now, you're standing on the sidelines watching while other people are getting filthy rich. For real. Build digital once. Get paid forever. That's the whole game. Say that again. Build digital once. Get paid forever. That's the whole game. Here's what makes digital assets different from everything else. When you build a digital asset, you do the work one time. Then it sits there on the internet, working for you, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. While you sleep, while you're on vacation, while you're doing literally anything else. No inventory to store, no shipping to deal with, no employees to manage, no overhead eating your profits. Just pure, beautiful, automated income. You have a choice. Keep trading time for money, working harder and harder for every dollar. Or build digital assets once and let them pay you forever. That's the key. Let's get specific about what we're talking about. Online courses. You know something. Everybody knows something. Maybe you're good at graphic design. Maybe you know how to flip furniture. Maybe you can cook, or code, or coach. Package that knowledge into a course. Record it once. Sell it forever. Ebooks and guides. Write a book. Not a physical book, a digital one. No printing costs. No shipping. Someone clicks, pays, downloads. You get paid. Forever. Software and apps. Build a tool that solves a problem. Could be simple. Could be complex. People pay to use it every month. Recurring revenue. The holy grail. Membership sites. Create a community or a resource people pay to access monthly. New content keeps them coming back. You keep getting paid. Digital downloads and printables. Planners, templates, wall art, resume templates, budgeting tools. Create them once, sell them 1,000 times. Platforms like Etsy and Gumroad make it easy. Stock photography, music, video. Create media once, license it over and over. Every time someone uses your photo or your beat, you get paid. The barrier to entry is basically zero. Let's be real for a second. You don't need money to start creating digital assets. You need a brain, an internet connection, and some hustle. Canva? Free. Gumroad? Free to start. Kajabi? There's a free trial. Teachable? Same deal. YouTube? Free. TikTok? Free. Instagram? Free. The tools are everywhere. The knowledge is everywhere. The only thing stopping you is you. Build digital once. Get paid forever. That's the whole game. Let me tell you about a woman named Rachel. Rachel was a teacher. Loved her job, hated the pay. She was good at creating lesson plans and classroom materials. Other teachers always asked her to share. One day, she discovered Teachers Pay Teachers, a platform where teachers sell their resources to other teachers. She uploaded a few of her lesson plans, priced them at $3 each. First month, she made $47. Not life-changing, but it was money she didn't have to work for after the initial work was done. She kept creating, kept uploading, kept learning what sold. 2 years later, Rachel's digital products were making $4,000 a month. Passive, automated, while she was still teaching during the day. 3 years later, she quit teaching. Her digital assets were paying her more than her salary. She built it once, and it paid her forever. That's not a fairy tale. That's real life. That's the digital gold rush. Another one. Marcus was a graphic designer. He kept getting asked the same questions by new designers. How do you do this? What software do you use? How do you find clients? Instead of answering the same questions over and over, he created a course. Graphic design for beginners. Recorded 20 videos. Wrote a workbook. Put it on Udemy. First year, made $12,000. Second year, $18,000. Third year, $25,000. The course is still there, still selling. He updates it once a year. The rest of the time, it just prints money. Build digital once. Get paid forever. That's the whole game. Now, let's talk about why this is so powerful. Scalability. With physical products, if you sell 100 units, you need 100 items in inventory. With digital, you sell 100 units. You just delivered 100 digital files. No extra cost. No extra work. Pure profit. Margins. Digital products have insane margins. Once the creation cost is covered, everything else is profit. 90% margins are normal. Try getting that with anything physical. Freedom. Digital assets don't need you. They don't call in sick. They don't need management. They just sit there, working. You can be anywhere in the world, doing anything, and they keep paying. Compounding. You build one product. It pays. You build another. Now 2 are paying. Then 3. Then 10. They stack. Your income grows without your time growing. It's not about being a tech genius. It's about sharing what you know. You don't need to be a programmer. You don't need to be a professional video editor. You just need to know something that someone else wants to learn. What do you know? How to meal prep for the week. How to budget and save money. How to train a puppy. How to start a podcast. How to grow tomatoes. How to do your own nails. How to fix a leaky faucet. Someone wants to learn that. Someone will pay for that. Package it up. Sell it. Forever. Let's get practical about how you actually do this. Step 1. Pick your niche. What do you know? What do people ask you about? What are you passionate about? Pick one topic. Just one. Don't try to be everything to everyone. Be the expert in one thing. Step 2. Validate the idea. Before you spend months creating something, make sure people actually want it. Search online. See what's already selling. Ask in Facebook groups. Create a wait list. If nobody's interested, pick something else. Step 3. Create the product. This is the work part. And yeah, it's work, but it's work you do once. Outline your content. Record your videos. Write your words. Design your templates. Make it good. Make it valuable. Make it something you'd pay for. Step 4. Launch it. Get it on a platform. Gumroad, Teachable, Etsy, Amazon, your own website. Doesn't matter where. Just get it out there. Perfect is the enemy of done. Launch it even if it's not perfect. Step 5. Promote and repeat. Tell people about it. Use social media. Build an email list. Partner with others. And while it's selling, start working on the next one. Stack your assets. Build digital once. Get paid forever. That's the whole game. Let me give you some real talk about the mindset you need for this. Most people never start because they think they need to be an expert. They think they need 1 million followers. They think they need a fancy website and professional video gear. None of that is true. You just need to be one step ahead of your customer. That's it. If you know something they don't, you can teach them. You don't need to be the world's leading expert. You just need to be helpful. And you don't need an audience to start. You can sell on platforms that already have traffic. Etsy, Amazon, Udemy, Gumroad. The customers are already there. You just need to show up. You are strong. You are intelligent. You are the master of your own world. You don't need anyone's permission to create digital assets. Let me give you your action plan for this chapter. Real talk. No fluff. Action 1. The brain dump. Sit down for an hour and write down everything you know. Every skill. Every interest. Every topic people ask you about. Don't judge. Just dump. Somewhere in that list is your first digital asset. Action 2. The market research. Pick your top 3 ideas. Go to Amazon, Etsy, Udemy, Google. See what's already selling. Read reviews. See what people are complaining about. That's your opportunity. Action 3. The minimum viable product. Pick one idea. Create the smallest possible version of it. A 10-page PDF. A 30-minute video. A simple template. Nothing fancy. Just something valuable enough that someone might pay $7 for it. Action 4. The launch. Put it out there. Today. This week. Don't wait. Don't overthink. Launch it. See what happens. You'll learn more from one launch than from a year of planning. Action 5. The next one. While your first product is out there, start on your second. And your third. Stack them up. Build a portfolio of digital assets that pay you forever. Build digital once. Get paid forever. That's the whole game. This is the modern gold rush. And the beautiful thing is, there's plenty of gold for everyone. The internet is massive. There are billions of people with problems to solve and things to learn. You can help them. And you can get paid forever doing it. You don't need money. You don't need connections. You don't need to be famous. You just need to start. Now, with digital assets in your toolkit, we got to talk about the most overlooked asset class of all. The one sitting right between your ears. Your ideas. Your knowledge. Your creativity. That's intellectual property, and it's worth a fortune. Moving to Chapter 7. Intellectual property. Your ideas as assets. And look, if this digital asset talk is getting your wheels turning, do yourself a solid and hit subscribe. Every week, more real talk for the person who's done sleeping on the biggest opportunity of our lifetime. You're not just listening to an audiobook. You're building a digital empire. Subscribe now. Let's get this money. For real. Moving over to Chapter 7. Intellectual property. Your ideas as assets. Let me tell you about the most valuable asset class that most people completely ignore. It's not real estate. It's not stocks. It's not digital products. It's something sitting right between your ears, waiting to be unleashed. Intellectual property. Your ideas. Your knowledge. Your creativity. your unique way of seeing the world. Legally protected and turned into assets that can pay you for decades. Your ideas are assets. Treat them like it. Say that again. Your ideas are assets. Treat them like it. Here's something most people sleep on. Your brain can create property. Not physical property, intellectual property. Copyrights, trademarks, patents, royalties. These are real assets. They have value. They can be bought and sold. And most importantly, they can pay you forever. Think about J.K. Rowling. She wrote some books about a boy wizard. Those books became intellectual property. Movies, merchandise, theme parks, endless royalties. She built it once, and it pays her forever. Think about the person who invented the iPhone. Not Steve Jobs, the actual inventors. They get paid every time Apple sells a phone. For doing work decades ago. Think about the songwriter whose song gets played on the radio. Every single play, they get paid. For writing something once. That's intellectual property. That's ideas as assets. You have a choice. Let your ideas rattle around in your head and eventually disappear. Or capture them, protect them, and turn them into assets that pay you forever. That's the key. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm not J.K. Rowling. I'm not going to invent the next iPhone. I'm not a songwriter. This doesn't apply to me. Let me stop you right there. Because that's just fear talking. You don't need to create the next Harry Potter to build valuable intellectual property. You just need to create something useful, protect it, and let it work. Let's break down the different kinds of intellectual property so you can see where you might fit. Copyright. This protects creative works. Books, articles, music, videos, software code, photographs, artwork. The moment you create something original and put it in a fixed form, you automatically own the copyright. You don't even have to register, though registering gives you more legal power. That ebook you've been thinking about writing? That's intellectual property. That online course you could create? Intellectual property. That software tool you've imagined? Intellectual property. You create it once, you own it forever, and every time someone buys or licenses it, you get paid. Trademarks. This protects brand identity. Names, logos, slogans, anything that identifies your business. Think about Nike's swoosh. Think about Just Do It. Those are trademarks worth billions. If you build a brand, that brand itself becomes an asset. People will pay for the name. They'll trust the name. They'll buy because of the name. That's trademark value. Patents. This protects inventions. New processes, machines, products, compositions of matter. Patents are harder to get and more expensive, but they're also incredibly valuable. If you invent something new, you can patent it and license it to companies who will pay you royalties forever. You don't need to be a mad scientist. Everyday people invent things. A better mousetrap. A new kitchen gadget. A simple app that solves a common problem. Patent it. License it. Get paid. Trade secrets. This protects confidential business information. The Coca-Cola recipe is a trade secret. KFC's secret blend of herbs and spices. Your unique customer list or manufacturing process. Keep it secret, and it has value. Royalties. This is the payment you get when someone else uses your intellectual property. Every time someone buys your book, you get a royalty. Every time a company licenses your patent, you get a royalty. Every time your song plays on Spotify, you get a royalty. Royalties are passive income at its finest. Work once. Get paid forever. Your ideas are assets. Treat them like it. Let me tell you about a guy named Kevin. Kevin was a plumber. Not a writer. Not an inventor. Just a regular plumber who'd been in the trade for 20 years. He knew things. Things that new plumbers struggled with. Things that homeowners wished they knew. One day, he started writing down everything he knew about fixing common plumbing problems. Simple stuff. How to unclog a drain. How to fix a running toilet. How to replace a faucet. He turned his notes into a simple ebook. Called it Plumbing for Homeowners. Put it on Amazon for $9.99. First month, sold 12 copies. Not life-changing, but it was money he didn't have to work for. He kept writing, kept creating, added videos, created a course, built a membership site for DIY homeowners. 5 years later, Kevin's intellectual property was making him $8,000 a month. While he still worked as a plumber, while he slept, while he was on vacation, Kevin didn't invent the next iPhone. He just packaged what he knew and turned it into property. Property that pays him forever. Another one. Maria was a former corporate trainer. She knew how to run effective meetings. That's it. Just meetings. She created a simple guide. The 7-step meeting formula. Put it on Gumroad for $27. Created a workbook to go with it for another $15. Then a video course for $97. People bought them. Companies bought them for their employees. She started getting emails from HR directors wanting to license her materials for their whole organization. Maria created a licensing deal. Companies pay her a yearly fee to use her materials with all their employees. Recurring revenue. Passive income. From a skill she developed over years of corporate work. That's intellectual property. That's ideas as assets. It's not about being a genius. It's about packaging what you know. You don't need to be the world's leading expert. You just need to know something that someone else wants to know. And there's always someone who wants to know what you know. What do you know? How to fix cars. How to meal plan on a budget. How to train for a marathon. How to negotiate a raise. How to start a podcast. How to grow organic vegetables. How to care for aging parents. How to navigate the college admissions process. Someone wants to know that. Someone will pay for that knowledge. Package it. Protect it. Sell it. Forever. Let's get practical about how you actually do this. Step 1. Identify your intellectual property. What do you know that others don't? What skills have you developed? What experiences have you had? What systems have you created? Write it all down. Somewhere in that list is your first IP asset. Step 2. Capture it. Write it down. Record it. Create it. Turn your knowledge into a tangible form. A book. A course. A video series. A template. A system. Make it real. Step 3. Protect it. Understand what kind of IP you have. Copyright is automatic for written works. Trademarks you register. Patents you apply for. Trade secrets you keep secret. Learn the basics of protection so your asset isn't stolen. Step 4. Monetize it. How will you get paid? Sell it directly? License it? Subscription? Royalties? Choose a model that works for your asset and your audience. Step 5. Let it work. Once it's created and out there, it works. You might need to promote it, but the asset itself does the heavy lifting. It sits there, providing value, generating income, year after year. Your ideas are assets. Treat them like it. Let me give you some real talk about why this matters so much. Physical assets wear out. Real estate needs maintenance. Equipment breaks. But intellectual property? It doesn't wear out. A book you wrote 20 years ago can still sell today. A course you created a decade ago can still generate income. A patent lasts for 20 years. Your ideas can outlive you. They can provide for your family after you're gone. They can become part of your legacy. That's power. That's freedom. That's wealth. You are strong. You are intelligent. You are the master of your own world. You don't need anyone's permission to turn your ideas into assets. Let me give you your action plan for this chapter. Real talk. No fluff. Action 1. The knowledge inventory. Sit down for an hour and make a list of everything you know. Every skill. Every experience. Every problem you've solved. Every question people ask you. This is your raw material. Action 2. The idea selection. Pick one thing from your list. Just one. The thing you're most passionate about, or the thing people ask you about most. That's your first IP asset. Action 3. The creation sprint. Commit to creating something small in the next 30 days. A 20-page ebook. A 5-video mini-course. A simple template pack. Something tangible. Something you can hold digitally and sell. Action 4. The protection check. Learn what protection your creation needs. Copyright is automatic, but put a copyright notice on it. If it's a brand, check trademarks. If it's an invention, research patents. Protect your asset. Action 5. The launch. Put it out there. Today. This month. Don't wait for perfect. Launch it. See what happens. You'll learn more from one launch than from a year of planning. Your ideas are assets. Treat them like it. This is the game. Your brain is a factory. Your knowledge is raw material. Your creations are products. And intellectual property is how you protect it all. You don't need to be a genius. You just need to be willing to capture what you know and share it with the world. The world will pay you for it. Forever. Now, with intellectual property in your toolkit, we got to talk about the classic wealth builder. The one that's been around forever and will be around forever. The one where you own a piece of businesses and they pay you just for being an owner. We're talking about dividend stocks and investments. Moving to Chapter 8, Dividend Stocks and Investments. Let Wall Street pay you. And look, if this intellectual property talk is making you realize how much value is sitting in your brain, do yourself a favor and hit subscribe. Every week, More real talk for the person who's done letting their ideas rot and ready to turn them into assets. You're not just listening to an audiobook. You're building a legacy. Subscribe now. Let's get this money. For real. Let's dive into Chapter 8, Dividend Stocks and Investments. Let Wall Street pay you. Let me tell you about the most boring way to get rich. It's not sexy. It's not going to make you a millionaire overnight. It's not something you'll post on Instagram. But it works. It's been working for 100 years. And it'll keep working long after the crypto bros have moved on to the next shiny thing. Dividend stocks. Look, I'm not going to tell you to day trade. That's gambling, not investing. I'm not going to tell you to chase meme stocks. That's how you lose your shirt. But dividend stocks? That's different. That's real. Let the market pay you. Dividends don't care if you work or not. Say that again. Let the market pay you. Dividends don't care if you work or not. Here's what we're talking about. You buy shares of solid, established companies. Those companies make profits. They share some of those profits with you, the owner, in the form of dividends. Cash. In your account. Every quarter. Whether you work that day or not. Whether the market is up or down. Whether you're awake or asleep. That's an asset paying you. That's passive income. That's freedom. You have a choice. Chase the quick hit, gamble on the next hot stock, and probably lose. Or buy quality, collect dividends, and let time do the work. That's the key. Let's talk about dividend aristocrats. These are companies that have paid and increased their dividends for at least 25 consecutive years. Not 5 years. Not 10 years. 25 years or more. Through recessions, crashes, wars, pandemics, everything. These companies are the definition of reliable. Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, PepsiCo, McDonald's, Walmart. These aren't exciting. They're not going to double overnight. But they're not going to go bankrupt either. They sell stuff people need every single day. Soda, medicine, toothpaste, burgers, groceries. You buy these companies, you hold them, you collect checks. Forever. Let me give you an example. In 1988, Warren Buffett started buying Coca-Cola stock. He paid about $1.3 billion for it. Today, that stake is worth over $25 billion. But here's the thing. He also collects about $700 million in dividends every single year from Coke. Every year. For doing nothing. That's dividend investing. Buy quality. Hold forever. Collect checks. Now, you're not Warren Buffett. You don't have billions. But the same principle works for regular people with regular money. Let's run some numbers so you can see how this works. You save $100 a month. You invested in dividend stocks averaging 3% yield. After 10 years, you've got about $14,000 and you're collecting about $35 a month in dividends. Not life-changing, but it's something. You keep going. 20 years. You've got about $33,000 and you're collecting $80 a month. Now we're talking. 30 years. You've got about $62,000 and you're collecting $155 a month. That's not retirement money, but it's real. And that's just with $100 a month. Increase that to $500 a month, and the numbers get serious fast. $500 a month for 30 years at 3% yield? You'd have over $300,000 and be collecting $750 a month in dividends. Forever. From money you saved and invested consistently. That's the power of dividend investing. It's not flashy. It's not quick. But it works. Let the market pay you. Dividends don't care if you work or not. Now, here's where it gets really powerful. Dividend reinvestment. Instead of taking those dividend checks and spending them, you reinvest them. You buy more shares. Those new shares pay more dividends. Which buy more shares. Which pay more dividends. It's a snowball. It starts small. But over time, it grows and grows and grows. That's compound interest doing its thing. Let me show you the difference. Take that same $500 a month for 30 years. If you just collected the dividends and spent them, you'd have $300,000 and be getting $750 a month. If you reinvested those dividends the whole time, you'd have over $500,000 and be getting $1,250 a month. That's the magic. That's the snowball. It's not about timing the market. It's about time in the market. You don't need to be smart. You don't need to be lucky. You just need to be consistent. Buy good companies. Reinvest the dividends. Wait, that's it. That's the whole strategy. Let me tell you about a guy named Ronald Red. Ronald was a janitor. Never made more than $40,000 a year. Lived simply. Drove an old car. wore regular clothes. Nobody knew he had money. When he died in 2014, his estate was worth $8 million. $8 million from a janitor's salary. How? He bought dividend stocks his whole life. Bought them, held them, reinvested the dividends. Never sold. Just stacked. For decades. Ronald Read wasn't a genius. He wasn't a trader. He was just patient. He let dividends do the work. He let time do the work. That could be you. Let the market pay you. Dividends don't care if you work or not. Now, let's get practical about how you actually do this. Step 1. Open a brokerage account. You don't need a fancy financial advisor. You don't need $1 million. Open an account with Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab, or any reputable broker. Takes 15 minutes online. Step 2. Start with an ETF. If picking individual stocks feels overwhelming, start with a dividend ETF. These are baskets of dividend-paying stocks. One purchase gives you instant diversification. Look for things like VYM, SCHD, or VIG. Low fees, solid dividends. Set it and forget it. Step 3. Be consistent. Set up automatic investments. Every month, same amount, same day. Automate it so you don't have to think about it. $50, $100, $500, whatever you can. Consistency matters more than amount. Step 4. Reinvest dividends. Turn on dividend reinvestment. Most brokers have a button for this. Every dividend automatically buys more shares. The snowball grows without you lifting a finger. Step 5. Ignore the noise. The market will go up. The market will go down. Ignore it. Don't check your account every day. Don't panic sell. Don't try to time anything. Just keep buying. Keep reinvesting. Keep waiting. Let the market pay you. Dividends don't care if you work or not. Let me give you some real talk about what this feels like. The first year, it feels like nothing. You're putting in money, but the dividends are tiny. $10 here, $20 there. Easy to get discouraged. The fifth year, you start noticing. Dividends are covering a dinner out. Or a utility bill. Real money. The 10th year, it's serious. Dividends are covering car payments. Or a month of rent. You start to feel it. The 20th year, you're free. Dividends cover your basic expenses. You don't need the job anymore. You work because you want to, not because you have to. That's the goal. That's dividend investing. You are strong. You are intelligent. You are the master of your own world. You don't need anyone's permission to start investing in dividend stocks. Let me give you your action plan for this chapter. Real talk. No fluff. Action 1. Open the account. This week, open a brokerage account. Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab. Pick one. Do it now. Don't wait. Action 2. Make your first purchase. Even if it's just $50. Buy one share of a dividend ETF. SCHD. VYM. VIG. Just start. The first step is the hardest. Do it. Action 3. Set up automation. Set up automatic monthly investments. Same amount, same day. Make it automatic. Remove the need for willpower. Action 4. Turn on drip. Enable dividend reinvestment. Every dividend automatically buys more shares. The snowball starts rolling. Action 5. Commit to ignoring it. Promise yourself you won't check the account more than once a month. Ignore the ups and downs. Focus on the long game. Let the market pay you. Dividends don't care if you work or not. This is the boring path to wealth. It's not sexy. It's not quick. But it's real. It's reliable. And it works. Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble. These companies have been paying dividends for generations. They'll keep paying for generations to come. You can own a piece of them. You can collect checks forever. Now, with dividend stocks in your toolkit, we got to talk about the Holy Grail. The ultimate asset. The thing that pays you forever and doesn't need you at all. We're talking about businesses that run without you. Moving to Chapter 9. Businesses that run without you. The Holy Grail. And look, if this dividend talk is making you realize that you don't need to gamble to build wealth, do yourself a favor and hit subscribe. Every week, more real talk for the person who's done chasing and ready to build. You're not just listening to an audiobook. You're building a portfolio. Subscribe now. Let's get this money. For real. Let's unlock the secrets of Chapter 9, which is about businesses that run without you, the Holy Grail. Let me tell you about the Holy Grail of assets. Not real estate. Not dividend stocks. Not digital products. Something bigger. Something better. Something that, when you finally have it, changes your life forever. A business that runs without you. This is the big one. This is what every entrepreneur is really chasing, even if they don't know it yet. Not a job with a fancy title. Not self-employment where you're still trading time for money. A real business. A system. A machine that produces money whether you're there or not. If the business stops when you stop, you don't own a business, you own a job. Say that again. If the business stops when you stop, you don't own a business, you own a job. This is the trap so many people fall into. They start a business thinking they're escaping the 9 to 5, but then they work 60 hours a week. They can't take a vacation. They can't get sick. They're more trapped than ever. They didn't build a business. They build a job with extra steps. That's not freedom. That's a different kind of cage. You have a choice. Build a job that depends on you and stay stuck. Or build a business that runs without you and finally be free. That's the key. Let's get clear on what we're talking about. A business that runs without you has 3 things: systems, automation, and people. Systems. You've documented how everything works. Standard operating procedures. Checklists. Processes. Anyone with basic training could step in and run things because it's all written down. The business doesn't run on your knowledge. It runs on systems. Automation. Technology handles the repetitive stuff. Invoices go out automatically. Payments get processed automatically. Emails get answered automatically. Marketing runs on autopilot. The machine does the work. People. You've hired and trained a team. Managers run day-to-day operations. Employees handle the tasks. You're not doing the work. You're overseeing the people who do the work. And eventually, you're not even overseeing. They run it themselves. When you have systems, automation, and people working together, the business becomes an asset. It produces money without your labor. You can step away for a week, a month, a year, and the money keeps flowing. That's the holy grail. If the business stops when you stop, you don't own a business, you own a job. Let me tell you about 2 different business owners. First, meet Sarah. Sarah is a hairstylist. She's great at what she does. Built a loyal clientele. Makes good money. But here's the thing. If Sarah takes a day off, she doesn't get paid. If Sarah gets sick, no income. If Sarah wants to retire, she has nothing to sell. Her business is just her trading time for money in a fancier setting. Sarah doesn't own a business. She owns a job with scissors. Now meet David. David started a cleaning company. At first, he did all the cleaning himself. Worked 60 hours a week. Barely kept up. Then he started hiring. Trained people. Built systems. Got a manager. Now David doesn't clean anything. He has 20 employees, 2 managers, and a system that runs whether he's there or not. He takes 6 weeks of vacation a year. The business keeps growing. If he wanted to sell it tomorrow, he could get $1 million easy. David owns a business. An asset that pays him whether he works or not. Same industry. Completely different outcome. The difference? David built something that runs without him. It's not about working hard. It's about building systems. Let's break down how you actually build a business that runs without you. Phase 1, the grind. In the beginning, you do everything. You work in the business. You learn every role. You figure out what works and what doesn't. This phase is brutal. Long hours, low pay, constant stress. But it's necessary. You can't build systems for things you don't understand. Phase 2, the documentation. Once you know how things work, you write it down. Every process, every step, every checklist. You create standard operating procedures so someone else could do your job. This is where most people get stuck. They keep the knowledge in their head, which keeps them necessary. Document everything. Phase 3, the hiring. Now you start hiring people to do the work. You train them using your systems. You oversee them at first. Slowly, you let go. They take over the tasks you used to do. Your job shifts from doing to managing. Phase 4, the management. You hire managers to oversee the workers. Now you're not even managing, you're managing the managers. You're one step further removed. The business runs without your daily input. Phase 5, the ownership. The business runs completely without you. You check in weekly, maybe monthly. You collect profits. You make big picture decisions. But day to day, you're free. You own an asset, not a job. If the business stops when you stop, you don't own a business, you own a job. Let me tell you about a guy named Marcus. Marcus started a digital marketing agency. For the first 2 years, he was the agency. Wrote the copy, designed the ads, managed the clients, did the books. Worked 70 hours a week. Made decent money, but he was exhausted. Then he read a book about building systems. He started documenting everything. how he wrote copy, how he onboarded clients, how he managed campaigns, how he did the books. Wrote it all down. Then he started hiring virtual assistants first, then copywriters, then project managers. He trained them using his systems. Slowly, he stepped back. 3 years later, Marcus has 12 employees and doesn't do any client work. He shows up for meetings, reviews the numbers, and collects a paycheck. He takes 2 months off every year. The business runs without him. Marcus built an asset, a business that pays him forever. The goal is not to be the best worker. The goal is to build the best system. Let's get real about what this takes. It takes ego management. You have to let go of control. You have to accept that other people won't do things exactly your way. That's hard. It takes patience. Building systems and training people takes time. It's faster to do it yourself in the short term, but in the long term, doing it yourself keeps you trapped. It takes money. You have to pay people before they're profitable. You have to invest in systems and training. That's scary when you're used to keeping every dollar. But here's the thing. The alternative is being trapped forever, working until you're too old to work, never truly free. That's way scarier. You are strong. You are intelligent. You are the master of your own world. You don't need anyone's permission to build a business that runs without you. Let me give you your action plan for this chapter. Real talk. No fluff. Action 1. The honest assessment. Look at your current situation. If you have a business or side hustle, ask honestly. If I stopped working today, would the money stop? If yes, you don't own a business. You own a job. Acknowledge that. It's the first step. Action 2. The documentation start. Pick one process in your business or life. Just one. Write it down step by step. Make it so clear that a stranger could follow it. This is your first system. Start there. Action 3. The first hire. If you're ready, hire someone to handle something you currently do. A virtual assistant, a freelancer, a part-timer. Start small. Let them take one task off your plate. Practice letting go. Action 4. The systems mindset. Every time you do something more than once, ask, could this be systemized? Could someone else do this? Start thinking like a builder, not a doer. Action 5. The freedom vision. Spend 10 minutes imagining what your life would look like if your business ran without you. Where would you go? What would you do? Who would you spend time with? Let that vision pull you forward. If the business stops when you stop, you don't own a business, you own a job. This is the holy grail. Not because it's easy, because it's freedom. Real freedom. The kind where you wake up and do whatever you want, knowing the money keeps flowing. It takes years to build. It takes sacrifice. It takes letting go of control. But on the other side is a life most people can't even imagine. You can build that. You can create an asset that pays you forever, whether you're there or not. Now, with the Holy Grail in sight, we got to talk about how all these assets fit together. How you go from zero to forever, step by step, without getting overwhelmed. We need the ladder. Moving to Chapter 10, the ladder. How to go from zero to forever assets. And look, if this talk about businesses that run without you is hitting you where you live, do yourself a favor and hit subscribe. Every week, more real talk for the person who's done working in their business and ready to work on it. You're not just listening to an audiobook. You're building freedom. Subscribe now. Let's get this money. For real. Moving to Chapter 10, the ladder. How to go from zero to forever assets. You've learned about the rat race. You've learned what an asset really is. You've shifted your mindset from consumer to builder. You know how to bootstrap with no money. You understand real estate, digital assets, intellectual property, dividend stocks, and businesses that run without you. That's a lot. It can feel overwhelming. Like, where do I even start? How do I go from where I am right now, maybe with nothing, to owning assets that pay me forever? Let me give you the ladder. Step by step, rung by rung. No confusion, no overwhelm, just a clear path. One asset at a time. Stack him up. Let him work. Say that again. One asset at a time. Stack him up. Let him work. This is not about getting rich quick. This is about getting free for real. And the path is simpler than you think. You don't need to be a genius. You don't need to be lucky. You just need to climb the ladder, one rung at a time, and never stop. You have a choice. Stay at the bottom, looking up, wishing things were different. Or start climbing. Today. That's the key. Let me give you the 6 steps. Memorize them. Live them. Step 1. Get income. Any income. You can't build assets with no money. You need capital. even if it's just a little. So step 1 is simple. Get a job. Any job. Or start a side hustle. Or both. Work. Earn. Save. This step isn't glamorous. It's grinding. It's trading time for money. But it's temporary. You're not staying here. You're just passing through. While you're in this step, you're doing two things: earning and learning. You're earning money to invest. And you're learning everything you can about the assets you'll eventually buy. Read. Listen. Study. Get ready. Step 2. Save every penny you can. Once you have income, you need to keep it. Not spend it. Not blow it on stuff. Save it. This means living below your means. Way below. It means driving the old car, cooking at home, skipping the expensive vacation, saying no to the latest iPhone. This is where most people fail. They get a little money and immediately spend it. They stay on step 1 forever. Don't be them. Every dollar you save is a seed. A seed you'll plant in step 3. The more seeds you have, the faster you climb. Step 3. Buy your first small asset. Now you have some savings. Not a fortune. Maybe $500. Maybe $1,000. Maybe $5,000. Whatever it is, you use it to buy your first asset. Not a liability. Not something that costs you money. An asset. Something that will pay you. This could be a few shares of a dividend stock, a cheap rental property in a rough area, a digital product you create with your skills, a small website that already makes money, a piece of equipment you rent out, a course you create and sell. Start small. Real small. Your first asset might only make you $10 a month. That's okay. You're not trying to get rich yet. You're proving to yourself that you can do it. You're getting on the ladder. Step 4. Reinvest everything. Your first asset makes some money. Maybe $10. Maybe $50. Maybe $100. Whatever it is, you don't spend it. You reinvest it. Buy more shares. Improve the property. Create another digital product. Use the income to build the next rung. This is the snowball. It starts small, but if you keep reinvesting, it grows. Slowly at first, then faster, then faster. Step 5. Keep stacking. Now you have 2 assets, then 3, then 5, then 10. Each one paying you a little. Each one reinvesting. Each one making the next one easier. You're not trying to hit a home run. You're just stacking singles, one asset at a time, letting them work, letting them multiply. This step takes years. Most people quit here. They get bored. They get impatient. They want the big win now. Don't be them. Keep stacking. Keep climbing. Step 6. The crossing. At some point, something magical happens. Your assets start paying you more than your job. It might be $1,000 a month, then $2,000, then $3,000. At some point, you realize, I don't need this job anymore. That's the crossing. That's freedom. You don't have to quit immediately, but you can. You have options. You have choices. You're free. One asset at a time. Stack him up. Let him work. Let me tell you about a woman named Tamara. Tamara was a receptionist, made $32,000 a year, lived in a small apartment, had maybe $200 in savings at the end of each month. She heard this message and decided to start climbing. Step 1. She kept her job. Step 2. She saved $100 a month. Ate at home, canceled subscriptions, drove her old car. After a year, she had $1,200. Step 3. She bought some dividend stocks. Not exciting, just solid companies. They paid her about $30 a quarter. Step 4. She reinvested every penny. Bought more shares. The next year, she saved another $1,200. Bought more stocks. Now her dividends were up to $60 a quarter. She kept going, year after year. Sometimes she bought stocks. Sometimes she put money into a small rental property with a partner. Sometimes she created little digital products on the side. Year 5, her assets were paying her $200 a month. Not much, but real. Year 10, $800 a month. Year 15, $2,500 a month. Her job was paying her $3,500. She was almost there. Year 18, her assets passed her job. Tamara was 52 years old. She walked into her boss's office and quit. Not because she hated the job, because she could. Tamara didn't inherit money, didn't win the lottery, didn't start a billion-dollar company. She just climbed the ladder, one rung at a time, for 18 years. That's you. That's what's possible. It's not about how fast you climb. It's about never stopping. Let's get real about the timeline. Year 1 feels like nothing. You're saving, but the returns are tiny. Easy to get discouraged. Year 3, you start to see something. A little momentum. Year 5, it's real. You have actual income. Not enough to quit, but enough to notice. Year 10, it's serious. Your assets are doing real work. You're thinking about the crossing. Year 15, you're free. Maybe not millionaire free, but free enough. Your assets pay your bills. You choose what to do with your time. That's the ladder. That's the path. It's not quick, but it's sure. One asset at a time. Stack him up. Let him work. Now, let's talk about the biggest obstacles you'll face. Obstacle 1, impatience. You'll want to skip steps. You'll want to get rich quick. You'll see others with flashy cars and think you're doing something wrong. Ignore them. Keep climbing. The tortoise wins this race. Obstacle 2, lifestyle creep. As you make more money, you'll want to spend more. Better car, better apartment, better restaurants. This is the trap. Every dollar you spend on lifestyle is a dollar not building assets. Keep living below your means until you're free. Obstacle 3, fear. The market will crash. Your rental will have problems. Your digital product won't sell. Fear will tell you to stop, to sell, to give up. Don't listen. Keep climbing. Every investor faces setbacks. The ones who win are the ones who keep going. Obstacle 4, isolation. Most people aren't climbing. They're spending. They're consuming. They're stuck. You'll feel alone. Find your people. Other builders. Other climbers. They'll keep you going. Obstacle 5, boredom. This path is boring. There's no drama. No excitement. Just slow, steady progress. That's hard for people used to instant gratification. Embrace the boring. Boring is working. You are strong. You are intelligent. You are the master of your own world. You don't need anyone's permission to start climbing. Let me give you your action plan for this chapter. Real talk. No fluff. Action 1. Assess your current rung. Where are you on the ladder? Still on step 1? Step 2? Step 3? Be honest. No shame. Just know where you are so you know where to go next. Action 2. Commit to the process. Say this out loud. I will climb the ladder one rung at a time. I will not skip steps. I will not give up. I will keep stacking assets until I'm free. Mean it. Action 3. Take one step this week. Not 10 steps. One step. If you're on step 1, get more income. Work overtime. Start a side hustle. If you're on step 2, save more. Cut one expense. If you're on step 3, buy your first asset. Even if it's tiny. One step. Action 4. Track your progress. Create a simple spreadsheet. List your assets. Track their income. Watch it grow. Every month, update it. Let the numbers motivate you. Action 5. Find your community. Connect with other builders. Online or in person. People who understand the ladder. They'll keep you going when you want to quit. One asset at a time. Stack him up. Let him work. This is the ladder. It's not complicated. It's not easy. But it's simple. Get income. Save it. Buy assets. Reinvest. Stack. Repeat. Until you're free. You don't need to be rich to start. You just need to start. Today. Right now. The ladder is in front of you. The only question is whether you'll climb. Now, with the ladder in your hands, we got to talk about protecting everything you build. Because building assets is hard. Losing them is easy. Moving to chapter 11. Protecting your assets. Don't let it slip away. And look, if this ladder is making sense and you're ready to start climbing, do yourself a favor and hit subscribe. Every week, more real talk for the person who's done dreaming and ready to build. You're not just listening to an audiobook. You're climbing the ladder. Subscribe now. Let's get this money. For real. It's time for our second last chapter, chapter 11, that is protecting your assets. Don't let it slip away. Let me tell you about the part of wealth building that nobody talks about. Everybody wants to tell you how to make money, how to invest, how to build assets, how to get rich. But almost nobody tells you how to keep it. Here's the truth. Building assets is hard. It takes years of discipline, sacrifice, and hustle. But losing them? That's easy. One lawsuit, one bad tenant, one market crash, one divorce, one tax mistake, one moment of stupidity, and years of work can disappear. Build it, protect it, shut up about it. Say that again. Build it, protect it, shut up about it. This is the three-part formula for lasting wealth. Most people only focus on the first part. They build and build and build, but they never protect. They build castles on sand, and they're shocked when the tide comes in. You have a choice. Build without protection and hope nothing goes wrong. Or build smart, protect everything, and sleep soundly knowing your stuff is safe. That's the key. Let's talk about what can take your assets. Lawsuits. Someone slips on your rental property. Someone claims your product harmed them. Someone decides to sue you for any reason at all. America is the most litigious country on earth. If you have assets, you have a target on your back. Bad tenants. They stop paying. They trash the place. They sue you for imagined violations. One bad tenant can cost you a year of rental income and thousands in damages. Market crashes. The stock market drops 30%. Your dividend stocks become penny stocks. Your retirement account gets cut in half. If you need that money soon, you're in trouble. Taxes. The government wants its cut. If you don't plan, you'll pay way more than you need to. Capital gains, income tax, property tax, estate tax. They're all coming for your money. Divorce. Half of marriages end in divorce. If you're not protected, half your assets can walk out the door. Even if you're not married now, you might be someday. Plan for it. Bad advice. Friends, family, experts who tell you to do stupid things with your money. One bad investment can wipe out years of gains. Your own mouth. This is the biggest one. You tell people about your money. They get jealous. They get entitled. They get ideas. Suddenly, everyone wants a piece. Your money becomes a magnet for problems. Build it, protect it, shut up about it. Let's talk about how you actually protect what you've built. Protection Tool 1. Insurance. This is the foundation. If you have assets, you need insurance. Not just the minimum. Real coverage. Rental properties, landlord insurance, business, liability insurance, car. Enough coverage to protect your assets if you cause an accident. Umbrella policy, an extra layer of liability coverage that kicks in when other policies max out. Insurance is boring. It costs money and you hope you never use it. But when something goes wrong, it's the difference between a setback and a catastrophe. Protection Tool 2. LLCs and legal structures. Don't own assets in your own name. That's asking for trouble. If someone sues you personally, they can take everything you own personally. But if your rental property is owned by an LLC and someone sues about that property, they can only take what's in the LLC. Your other assets are safe. LLCs, corporations, trusts. These are legal walls between your assets and the people who might come after them. You don't need to be a lawyer to use them. You just need to set them up right. Protection Tool 3. Diversification. Don't put everything in one basket. Real estate, stocks, digital assets, intellectual property, cash. Spread it out. If one market crashes, the others keep you afloat. Diversification won't stop losses entirely, but it stops a single loss from wiping you out. Protection Tool 4. Asset location. Some assets belong in certain places. Retirement accounts have legal protection that regular accounts don't. In many states, your primary residence has homestead protection. Your retirement accounts are protected from creditors in bankruptcy. Know where to put what. A good CPA or financial advisor can help with this. Protection Tool 5. Estate planning. This is for your family. A will, a trust, beneficiary designations. If something happens to you, you want your assets to go where you want, not where the courts decide. And you want your family to avoid the nightmare of probate. Estate planning isn't just for old people. It's for anyone who has people they care about. Protection Tool 6. The silent strategy. This is the simplest and most powerful. Keep your mouth shut. The more people know about your money, the more problems you'll have. Friends will ask for loans. Family will feel entitled. Strangers will target you. Jealousy will poison relationships. Nobody needs to know what you have. Not your friends. Not your family. Not your coworkers. Not your neighbors. Nobody. Drive a reasonable car. Live in a reasonable house. Dress reasonably. Let people think you're doing okay, but not great. Quiet money is safe money. Build it, protect it, shut up about it. Let me tell you about two guys. First guy, let's call him Tony. Tony built a successful business. Made great money. Bought a big house, fancy cars, nice watches. Posted it all on Instagram. Told everyone about his success. One day, a former employee sued him. Claimed wrongful termination. Tony had insurance, but not enough. The lawsuit dragged on. Legal fees piled up. His business suffered. The stress affected his marriage. Tony eventually settled for a chunk of his savings. Then his friends started asking for loans. His family expected him to pay for everything. His life became about managing other people's expectations instead of enjoying his success. Tony built it. He didn't protect it. And he definitely didn't shut up about it. Second guy, let's call him Marcus. Marcus also built a successful business. Similar money. But Marcus was quiet. Drove an old truck. Lived in a modest house. Nobody knew what he had. Marcus set up LLCs for his properties. Had umbrella insurance. Diversified his investments. Met with a CPA every year to plan for taxes. Had a trust set up for his kids. When someone tried to sue him over a minor issue, his insurance handled it. When the market dipped, his diversification protected him. When family members needed money, he could help. But nobody expected it because nobody knew what he had. Marcus built it. He protected it. And he shut up about it. 20 years later, Tony is stressed and broke. Marcus is free and wealthy. Same starting point. Different outcome. The difference wasn't how they built. It was how they protected. It's not about what you have. It's about what you keep. Let's get real about what this means for you. You're going to build. You're going to sacrifice. You're going to stack assets. Don't let it slip away because you skipped the boring part. Insurance. Get it. Review it every year. Make sure it covers what you have. Legal structure. Talk to a lawyer. Set up LLCs for your businesses and properties. Keep your personal name off as much as possible. Diversification. Don't get cocky. Spread your money around. Different assets. Different markets. Different risks. Tax planning. Find a good CPA. Pay them to save you money. The best ones pay for themselves many times over. Estate planning. Get a will. Set up a trust. Name beneficiaries. Protect your people. And for the love of money, keep your mouth shut. Nobody needs to know. Not your friends. Not your family. Not your coworkers. Not the internet. Nobody. When people ask how you're doing, say doing okay. When they ask about your business, say it's going. When they ask about your investments, say nothing exciting. Be boring. Be quiet. Be safe. Build it. Protect it. Shut up about it. You are strong. You are intelligent. You are the master of your own world. You don't need anyone's permission to protect what you build. Let me give you your action plan for this chapter. Real talk. No fluff. Action 1. The insurance review. This week, review every insurance policy you have. Home, auto, business, umbrella. Make sure you have enough coverage. If you're not sure, talk to an insurance agent. Better to pay a little now than lose everything later. Action 2. The legal structure check. If you have rental properties or a business, talk to a lawyer about LLCs. If you don't have them, set them up. If you do, make sure they're current. This is worth the money. Action 3. The diversification audit. Look at your assets. Are they all in one thing? Real estate only? Stocks only? One business? Spread it out. Add something different. Protect yourself. Action 4. The estate plan. If you don't have a will or trust, get one. Online services like LegalZoom can do basic ones cheap. If you have significant assets, see a real lawyer. Protect your people. Action 5. The mouth shut commitment. Make a commitment right now. Say it out loud. I will not talk about my money. I will be quiet. I will be safe. Mean it. Live it. Build it. Protect it. Shut up about it. This is the full formula. Not just building, protecting, and keeping your mouth shut. You've learned how to build. Now you know how to protect. The only thing left is to actually do it. Now, with protection in place, we have one final chapter. The mindset that makes all of this worthwhile. The reason you're building in the first place. Living off your assets. Being free. Moving to chapter 12. The forever mindset. Living off assets, not luck. And look, if this protection talk is making you realize that building is only half the game, do yourself a favor and hit subscribe. Every week, more real talk for the person who's done building on sand and ready to build on rock. You're not just listening to an audiobook. You're protecting your future. Subscribe now. Let's get this money. For real. With this, we have reached to our last chapter, chapter 12, which is the forever mindset. Living OFF assets, not luck. Let me ask you something real. Why are you doing all this? Why are you grinding? Why are you saving? Why are you building assets instead of spending every dollar like everyone else? Is it to be rich? To flex on Instagram? To impress people you don't even like? I hope not. Because that's empty. That's chasing a feeling that never lasts. That's building a cage and calling it freedom. Assets equal freedom. Freedom equals everything. Say that again. Assets equal freedom. Freedom equals everything. At the end of the day, this is about one thing and one thing only, freedom. The ability to wake up and do whatever you want with your time. To say no to things you don't want to do. To say yes to things you love. To be with the people who matter. To live life on your own terms, not someone else's. Not being rich. Not having stuff. Not impressing strangers. Freedom. You have a choice. Keep chasing money for its own sake and end up empty. Or build assets for freedom and end up with everything that matters. That's the key. Let's get clear on what freedom actually looks like. Freedom means you don't need a boss. Not that you hate your boss. Not that you'll never work again. Just that you don't need anyone's permission to live your life. You can walk away from any job, any situation, any person who doesn't serve you. Because your assets have your back. Freedom means you don't need to take crap. When someone disrespects you, you can walk away. When a situation is toxic, you can leave. When people pressure you to do things you don't want to do, you can say no. Not because you're rude, because you can afford to protect your peace. Freedom means you don't stress about layoffs. The economy crashes, your company restructures, your industry disappears. It doesn't matter. Your assets keep paying. You might need to adjust, but you're not panicking. You're not one paycheck away from disaster. Freedom means you can spend time how you want. With your kids, with your parents, with your partner, on your hobbies, on your health, on nothing at all. Time is the only non-renewable resource. Freedom is having control over yours. Freedom means you can give to causes you believe in, to people who need help, to your community, not because you have to, because you want to, because you can. Assets equal freedom. Freedom equals everything. Let me tell you about two different people. First, meet Robert. Robert is rich, really rich. Big house, fancy cars, nice watches, all the stuff. But Robert's life is a mess. He's constantly stressed about his businesses. He works 80 hours a week. His marriage is falling apart. His kids barely know him. He's got millions in the bank and zero peace. Robert has money. He does not have freedom. Now meet Lisa. Lisa has a small rental property that pays her $1,500 a month. She's got a little dividend portfolio that pays another $500. She works a part-time job she actually enjoys, making $2,000 a month. Her total monthly expenses are $2,500. Lisa's not rich, but she's free. If her job gets toxic, she quits. If she wants to travel for a month, she goes. If her kids need her, she's there. She doesn't stress about layoffs or market crashes because her assets cover her basics. Lisa doesn't have millions, but she has what matters, control over her time. Who would you rather be? The rich guy with no peace, or the regular person with freedom? Assets equal freedom. Freedom equals everything. Now, let's be real about what this mindset requires. It requires patience. Freedom doesn't come fast. It takes years of building, saving, and stacking. You'll watch other people buy nice things while you keep grinding. You'll feel like you're missing out. You're not. You're trading short-term stuff for long-term freedom. That's a good trade. It requires discipline. Every dollar you don't spend is a dollar working toward freedom. Every impulse you resist is a step closer. Every sacrifice today is freedom tomorrow. Stay disciplined. It requires clarity. You have to know what freedom means to you. Not what society says. Not what your parents want. Not what your friends think. What do you want your life to look like? Get clear on that and let it pull you forward. It requires gratitude. While you're building, don't forget to appreciate what you already have. Your health, your people, your ability to work and learn and grow. Freedom isn't only in the future. It's also in the present if you choose to see it. It's not about how much you have. It's about how much you control. Let me tell you about Marcus. You heard about him earlier. Marcus built his assets for 20 years. Never got rich. Never made millions. But he kept stacking. Rental properties. Dividend stocks. A little digital business on the side. At 52, Marcus's assets were paying him $4,000 a month. His expenses were $3,000. He was free. He didn't quit his job right away. But he stopped caring about it. He stopped stressing. He stopped taking crap. He knew he could walk at any time. A year later, his boss started pushing for more hours, more stress, more sacrifice. Marcus smiled, gave his notice, and walked out. He spent the next 6 months traveling with his wife, visiting his kids, doing whatever he wanted. Marcus isn't rich, but he's free. And free is better. That's the forever mindset. Not chasing more. Not comparing. Not flexing. Just building enough freedom to live life on your terms. Assets equal freedom. Freedom equals everything. Let's get real about what this means for you right now. You're at the beginning of this journey. Or maybe you're in the middle. It's easy to get discouraged. Easy to look at how far you have to go and feel like giving up. Don't. Every dollar you save is a step. Every asset you build is a brick. Every year you stay disciplined is a year closer to freedom. You don't need to be a millionaire. You just need enough. Enough assets to cover your basics. Enough freedom to say no. Enough control to live your life. That number might be $500,000. Might be $1 million. Might be $2 million. It depends on your expenses and your life. But it's reachable. Regular people reach it every day. You are strong. You are intelligent. You are the master of your own world. You don't need anyone's permission to build toward freedom. Let me give you your action plan for this chapter. Real talk. No fluff. Action 1. Define your freedom number. What would it take for you to be free? Not rich. Free. Calculate your monthly expenses. Multiply by 12. That's your annual freedom number. Now figure out how much in assets you'd need to generate that income. That's your target. Write it down. Look at it every day. Action 2. Visualize your free life. Spend 10 minutes imagining your ideal free day. Not a vacation, a regular day when you have complete control. Where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing? How does it feel? Let that vision pull you forward. Action 3. Practice gratitude for what you already have. Every day, name one freedom you already possess. The freedom to choose what you eat. The freedom to read this book. The freedom to work toward more. Freedom isn't only in the future. Appreciate what's already yours. Action 4. Commit to the long game. Say this out loud. I am building for freedom. Not for stuff. Not for status. Not for anyone else. For freedom. Let that commitment guide every financial decision. Action 5. Share the mindset. Talk to the people you love about freedom. Not about money, about what really matters. Help them understand why you're doing what you're doing. Build a shared vision. Freedom is better when you have people to share it with. Assets equal freedom. Freedom equals everything. This is the forever mindset. Not about being rich, about being free. When your assets pay your bills, you don't need a boss. You don't need to take crap. You don't need to stress about layoffs. You don't need to impress anyone. You're free. That's the goal. That's the whole point. Build assets that pay you forever and live your life on your own terms. Now, with this mindset locked in, it's time to bring everything together. All the chapters, all the lessons, all the strategies. One final message to send you off. Moving to the conclusion, your forever future. And look, if this journey has changed how you see money, assets, and freedom, do yourself a favor and hit subscribe. Every week, more real talk for the person who's done chasing stuff and ready to build freedom. You're not just listening to an audiobook. You're building your future. Subscribe now. Let's get this freedom. For real. So here's the deal. You got two choices. Keep doing what you're doing, trading time for money, running on the hamster wheel, hoping things change, or start building. Building assets ain't sexy. It ain't quick. It ain't something you post on Instagram. But let me tell you what it is. Freedom. Real freedom. The kind where you wake up and don't answer to anyone. Real estate that cash flows. Digital products that sell while you sleep. Dividend stocks that pay you just for owning them. Businesses that run without you. Ideas that become intellectual property. These are the things that pay you forever. You don't need a trust fund. You don't need to get lucky. You just need to start. One asset at a time. Stack him up. Let him work. The rat race ain't going anywhere. It'll be there waiting. But you don't have to stay in it. Start building. Build assets that pay you forever. And for real, live your life. And if you're ready to stop trading time and start building assets that actually pay you, hit subscribe. Every week, more real talk, more strategies, more no-cap wisdom for the person who's done with the rat race. You're not just learning about wealth. You're building it. Subscribe now. Let's get it.